Well, something looks different. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 25 of Project LS400. Now, as you may have noticed, things look different all of a sudden in my workshop, and that's because this is the car that's been hiding in the workshop in most of my videos. Maybe you picked up a small part of it. On the discovers here is a 1977 Toyota Cressida that's been in storage here, and it hasn't been driven a lot. In fact, I'm willing to bet that this is the most original, the most pristine Toyota Cressida of this model generation. But anyway, last weekend I contacted the owner's family. The owner is in his mid-90s and he isn't able to drive this car a lot anymore. But I contacted his family, we drove the car out so I could drive Project LS400 out and turn it around. I did a lot of work off camera, and let me pick you up and show you what I've been doing. Now, we took the covers off, of course. We opened the door so we can drive this car out. And in order to get Project LS400 out, as you can see, it's turned around right now. I had to get it back on its wheels, but I didn't want to install the original wheels, and the reason for that is I want to take off the tires. I want to have the wheels acid dipped and then powder coated, put on new tires, because these tires are old and they'll probably fail the inspection. Let me get my tripod out of the way. So I contacted a friend who had a set of these LS430 wheels in storage. These are 17-inch wheels and they're way too large in my opinion, but they have the same bolt pattern, so I put them on. And then I removed the car from its jack stands, and it was quite a process. And after that I lowered the car. And as you may recall, I took the air suspension strut on the left rear out. And when I lowered the car, the left rear all sagged down with the exhaust tip almost hitting the floor. So then it was time for its first start, and I had a lot of things to inspect before I could drive the car. Let's go over to the front. Well, the car has been running after its major maintenance. I'll put a link up to that episode right here. But that was 4 months ago. So I started the car and let it idle and warm up. I checked for leaks and nothing is leaking. So then I stopped the car. And then I reconnected the air suspension computer in the trunk. Now, this is what I've been up to in the trunk area. I installed the panels and everything that lives behind here. The antenna is back on. The cable loom is back in here, and I reconnected everything that's connected to that cable loom on the right hand side, so the taillights and the license plate illumination is working. I reconnected those control boxes. The small red one is a lamp failure test. The other is the amplifier. When I started the car, I first had to connect this box. I started the car without this box. I did it on purpose. So this is the fuel pump control box. With the fuel pump control box out, the engine will crank, but it will not start. So I could build up oil pressure. Then I reconnected that box and the air suspension computer, and the car started immediately and the air suspension started working. And as you can see, the car is sitting nice and level on its wheels now. I tested the high setting and the low setting of the air suspension, and everything is working fine, so I'm happy with that. I need to adjust the height sensor, which I refurbished in this episode over here. But as you can see, with those larger wheels on, I can't adjust it correctly. I'm gonna do that later. Now let's close up the trunk. Oh yeah, before I do that, One of the major things I need to do is repair the rust in this rear wheel arch, but it is significantly smaller than on the left hand side. And in order to do that, I need to take out the filler line and this breather line on top of the tank. That's one of the first things I have planned for this episode. Furthermore, I'm going to refurbish the brake calipers, put new rotor and e-brake shoes in on the rear. Same goes for the front wheel. I'm gonna refurbish the brake caliper and clean everything in here. I expect it to have much less rust than on the other side. Now, there wasn't rust in the wheel arch, and I expect to find a lot of the LPG installation. I could see a lot of lines running into this wheel arch, so I'm really curious to see what I will find now. In this left hand side, there's the upper control arm, and I found the MOT report. Good thing I did. Let's grab it. It's over here in the dashboard. Here are the notes on the test report. Now, this is in Dutch, and what it says. Hope the camera doesn't blind itself. Now, let's try this another way. So this is the report, and there is one note on here that says that the ball joint on the upper control arm on the right hand side, so this side, has played, not too much, but it needs to be repaired. Now, that's an expensive repair. I've done that on my previous LS400. Let me see where I left that part. Now, this is the upper control arm. This one is for the left hand side. They're different on both sides, and this one cost me 500 euros to replace back in 2015, and nowadays it's even more expensive, and they are nowhere to be found over here in the Netherlands. So the regular viewer of this channel, Joe, hi Joe, pointed me towards Rock Auto, and what I did today, I ordered a new one, a replacement one from Rock Auto, plus some other parts you'll see in a later episode, I hope. And over there, the replacement cost me $78 US. Now, with shipping and taxes and import duties and all, it's gonna be a bit more expensive, but still, it cost me 1/10 ordering at Rock Auto than what it would have cost me when I bought it over here. So, well, that's the plans for the right hand side, and when all of those things are done, well, I should be able to have the car tested and MOT'd, and then I should be able to drive this car. So, what do you say? It's about time to get started. I want to start working in the trunk again. I need to remove the fuel lines in order to get to that rusted part. Before I do that, I want to install these rubber grommets and go in the bottom of the spare wheel well. I'm gonna toss the spare wheel in. It came in a nice cover. And let me start off by lubricating a bit to make sure they slide in a bit more easy. I'm just using plain WD-40 and gonna clean them a bit. Now, the reason I'm installing the spare wheel again is I want to have a solid floor. I find a nice big wooden board. I'm gonna place it over there so I have a solid piece to work on, and I don't scratch my fresh paint in here. Okie dokie. Up next is the spare wheel. Now, when I was cleaning over the weekend, I found this nice plywood board. Let's see if we can fit this in here. I think it should fit. Okay, now I think I'm ready to remove the fuel line, and the tank is almost empty. The tank empty symbol is illuminated in the fuel gauge. So I think we have fuel up to here. There's a small one hiding in the back here, but I can see that the breather line is a bit in the way. Let's see if we can wiggle things loose. So this breather is already out. What's holding this? I'm not sure. Oh, it's the air suspension line that's in the way. Let me see if I can get it out from here. Now before I do that, before I loosen that air suspension connection, I have to support the car, otherwise it will fall to the floor. Jack that came with the car. Turn it up a notch. I don't need the car to be as raised as earlier up on jack stands. Alrighty, now let's see if we can crack this airline loose. Don't get scared. Tire strut needs to come out. So now before I continue, I'm also gonna cover this line in a little bit of electrical insulation tape just to prevent these small O-rings from getting damaged and to avoid dirt getting in. So that's one. Alrighty folks, it's the following day. I'm gonna continue working. First thing I want to do is put the car up on a jack stand because there is no support in the air suspension strut anymore. So I'm going to use the jack that came with the car. Yep, we're good. Now I'm gonna pry the center cover and take off the wheel. I would use a cloth between here in order not to damage the wheel and this cap, but it's already so much corroded so I can't do much damage. Okie dokie. I think I've mentioned it before that I work for a car magazine, and currently I'm working on an article about cheap battery power tools. Not a cheap tools, no, this isn't a snap-on, but it's 1/10 of the price of a snap-on. If you're interested to see content like this on this channel, or about cheap tools and things that work out really well for the semi-professional and amateur, let me know down below in the comments. And there it is. Ugh. Would be a nice spot. It rests on that point. Now I can feel the tension getting away from the jack, but I'll leave it under here. Alrighty. Now I can take the air suspension strut out. I'll get the camera over here so you can have a peek with me. Alrighty. So here's There's the controller out for the shock absorbers. Take this out completely, and you can see the suspension strut sink. Now I need to remove this bolt there that holds the air suspension strut to the wheel hub. Now it's a bit hard to show on camera, so I'm gonna put you a bit to the side. Now it's free. Now I should be able to pull the strut out. I got it out. I needed to compress it a little bit more from down below. Alrighty folks, this will be my first peek inside here. You already can tell it's much better than on the other side. You can see this lump of mud sticking in there, and yes, the brace is corroded, but as far as I can judge, it's still looking very good. Look inside there. Yeah, nothing to worry about really. Well folks, that's a heap of junk I took out of the wheel well. This is how things look like right now. Next to that large hole to the left, oh, I can zoom in, I have a new camera. Over there in the center of the screen are small pinholes, and those were hidden behind the brace. Now let's have a peek inside the wheel well. This is the damage to the rear. It is significantly less than on the other side, but here to the sidewall, to the outside of the car, there's also a pinhole. This is a difficult angle to weld to. Now the brace is shape-wise intact, but structurally it's garbage. It's completely crumbled away. And over there in the front and top, it is affected, but it's still structurally sound. And I have already decided to cut the brace out and make a new one, the same I did on the other side, so things look the same. Now, as you can see, there is a double layer over here. I'm gonna cut along this line, try to make it a straight line into that corner, and there is where things starting to overlap. This curve over here is complex. I want to go straight down and try keep straight there. That's the section I'm going to cut out first. As you can see, we have a nice square hole. I have to finish up the corner there to the side. I'm gonna do that with my angle grinder so I get a nice straight line. But all in all, the lines are nice and straight. You have a peek through to the inner fender. There's also a large hole. This is how things looks from the inside. Nice square hole. The entire brace is out. I rounded off all the edges to the best of my ability. And that corner over there, you can see those two holes don't meet. I want to keep that corner intact. That will be my point of reference. And in the front, things look like this. A little bit of residual rust, but I cleaned this area over here, so I have a nice surface area to weld the new brace onto. Well, we're a couple of days later, and as you can see, it's becoming a bit of a mess already. Now I went ahead yesterday evening. Let me put my lamp on here, and this is the panel I welded in, and as you can see, there are some ugly gaps to the left and the right. I have to fill those in, but anyway, this panel is in and I'm happy with how it sits. Have to get used to the welder, but it doesn't have to be nice. Now let's stick our head into the wheel well. This is what it looks on the inside. There's a panel on the inside. As you can see, it's quite rusty up in that corner, so it's hard to find clean material to weld to. Also got this panel on the side in, and this is where the original panel work overlaps each other. There are 3 or 4 layers meeting each other, and I have made a small brace, namely this brace. Let me try to show you how this goes in. Something like this. It's a corner piece that goes in, and with that corner piece in, I can make it a solid. So I'm gonna quit filming, start welding. Hopefully don't burn myself too much like I did yesterday evening. I'm not gonna show my face on camera for the next couple of scenes because some burn wounds and hair damage here and there. So let's put the camera aside and I'll show you the end result in the next clip. The bodywork is welded in. There are some tiny little holes, but I don't worry too much about that. I can try to weld it shut, but I introduced so much heat in there, I don't want to do that. These are the panels in the outer skin, and now the only thing I need to do is make a brace and weld that brace in. Well folks, this is how she sits right now. I'm happy with the fitment, and as you can see there's a large relief gap, but I need to maintain this shape and then I can bake it in. This is how things look on top in the strut tower. Everything is in its coating. Well, could you a little bit there in that corner, and that's light shining through, and that's the air suspension feed line dangling in. Well, I'm happy with this. Well folks, my plan to install the air suspension strut fell into water because I can't find the part. I took off the rubber skirt that protects the air bladder on the air suspension, and I think I may have left it in my own car, which is currently parked on the other side of the country, so that would be a 5-hour drive to get that thing here. So instead of that, I'm going to install the fuel filler lines back on, and we're going to do that by applying some movie magic. This is a before and that's after. It was just a blink of a second for you guys, but it took me 30 minutes, of which were 20 minutes of getting this bolt behind there in. Anyway, that's in. Now I'm gonna install the cover around the fuel filler neck and the gas door. Let me get the camera over here. First up is the gas door. Next is this surround, and it has this leakage tube. There's a catch tray, something, a sort of funnel in there, and there's a tube behind there. Let's see if I can struggle this in. Those lips want to go behind the door, and they do. There are four Phillips head screws in here. I gave them a rattle can overhaul. Oh, they look nice. The petrol fumes are getting to my head, so let's put this one back on. Okay, leave that be. Only thing you need to do is to install the solenoid for the remote opening. And there's a flat surface on the solenoid. Can you see it? If the camera will pick it up as a flat area. And there's a flat spot in there too. Yep, it's a 19 mil. And it's tight. Alrighty. That one done. There were 4 plastic clips in there, and all of them were broken. So a couple of weeks ago I ordered a kit from Amazon with an assortment of clips. I got these clips where you push one of those small screw-like center thing is in, and then it holds. That one slides in first. There's a cap nut that's doing all the work actually. Let's try those clips. Yeah. They don't fit as nice as the original ones, but the original ones didn't do anything. So here you go. Let's see if I can push those in. Well, only folks with an eye for the finer details will notice that this isn't original, but it's better than having broken originals in there. Yeah. The alignment is a little bit off. Can I fix it from here? I'm afraid I can. Gonna do that later once the car is out. So that's another job done. Well folks, I think I'll park this episode right here. Filming this episode took up a lot of my time. There's all those small things, like I said. It's a 30-minute job and the last screw takes 20 minutes of those 30. I'm gonna park it here so I can get this video out. Oh yeah, there's one thing I need to show you. Hold on a sec. Today the first package from Rock Auto came in, and this is the control arm for the right front. Really happy, looks good. I think it's exactly what I need, so I'm happy with that. So with that, I want to wrap up this episode. I hope you liked following me along. There's a lot more coming up in future episodes, but I am very busy this week. I have a lot of things to do and a lot of things to film. I want to get this video out, so it is what it is. Well, anyway, I hope you liked following me along, and if you did, please give me a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you have any questions. Furthermore, if you would like help support the channel, you can do so by buying me a coffee. I'll leave the link down below in the description. And for now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye!